and I both platinumed Elden Ring.
That's right. So that's a big boy plat right there.
It is indeed a big boy plat. Not one of the harder Souls ones, but still,
Or big girl plat. Or
or big girl
big
plat,
anyone plat. Big plat.
big thing plat.
Big plats. Ben plats. For all my musical friends out there.
Okay. Well,
Big Knack plat. So let's talk about it.
okay. So you made some notes here. Overall impressions
Yeah,
of the game in
what are your
general.
overall impressions of the game?
Elden Ring is a very good video game. I gave it on GG, which is an app you can download, lets you track your video games and rate them, and it's a little community social aspect.
Yeah,
GG,
you can follow us. Links in the description on YouTube.
yes. I gave it a 4.5 out of 5.
Okay.
My main complaints with the game is the difficulty spike that occurs towards end game.
Mm-hmm.
Way too hard. And the balancing of certain aspects of the game in terms of weapons, magic, it's fucking bad.
I agree with you. However, I didn't care and I gave it a 5.
The game slaps.
There's a lot about this game that I could have really gotten annoyed by. Like the technical issues, which I think are still inexcusable. But
Yeah.
even that, dude, if I can overlook that, which I'm becoming a freaking little stickler when it comes to performance, and if your game is anything less than 60, I ain't playing it.
Yes.
I didn't care. I'm here to tell you right now, we don't care.
They don't care.
Which just speaks to how good the game is. I mean, this is, speaking of GG, this is one of the best games I've ever played in my life. One of my favorite games of all time. I put it number 2 only to Persona 4 Golden. I liked it better than God of War Ragnarok. I think we mentioned this before. Very different game, or God of War. Very different games. God of War 2018. But, I mean, I don't know, man. And just to clarify, right? Not only do we have the plat, but I put 120 some hours into this game. I beat it twice, right? Because I messed up the ending stuff there. But also, with my second playthrough, I beat it in 6 hours. And I could have beat it in 4 hours if I didn't have to do Ronnie's quest line and do all that extra stuff.
Yeah.
So I sped run the game myself, by the way.
I appreciate you for that.
In one sitting.
After I beat the game the first time, I was like, I'm done for a little bit. And I put it down and I haven't gone back. Actually, that's not true. I went back the other day to try to get some items.
Yeah. So.
All right. Let's talk about some specifics. Gameplay. I already kind of went over my thoughts on certain balancing issues and whatnot, but this game takes the good of every Souls game, puts it all together. There's the jumping mechanic is phenomenal. It's a phenomenal addition to the game. Who would have thought simply adding a jump button could change a game so much? But very clear in this game, It changes a lot. There are jumping attacks now. You jump in the air and slam down. I played as a swordsman, and I had a lot of fun with the game, even though it was mostly me with a big-ass sword just fucking hitting people. And, there's a lot of things that weren't in this game that, or maybe they were, but just not to the extent. Like, there weren't a lot of illusory walls in this game, like a lot of these soul staples. Not many illusory walls, not many mimics, but they're there in different ways.
Yes.
Right?
And when they're used very effectively.
Yes. I'm torn if I like the gameplay of this more than Bloodborne, because I do really like the mechanic of getting your health back by slashing.
Which you can get a talisman that does that in this game.
True. But it's not native.
True.
What do you think about the gameplay?
Yeah, so you played as a swordsman. I did magic, which
You pushed R1.
Which some people might shit on me for, but hey, man, a win's a win. And
hey, man, R1's a win, dude.
I built my character. All right, first of all, you're welcome. Okay. How many bosses did I one shot for you? Okay.
True.
A win's
we
a
did
win.
play co-op the whole time.
That's true. A win's a win. I did not play co-op. I did not use any summons, by the way, for my second playthrough. That was all. That was all. Chad Daddy over here.
All right, dude, hold on.
Okay. But yeah,
You good?
yeah.
Was that enough?
Yeah, that was perfect.
Okay.
So I did straight in, and I had a blast. The variety of spells, I think, just the variety of gameplay, like ways that you can tackle it, and like we talked about before, the fact that it is, open world. So if you get stuck on something, or if you're having a really difficult part with, getting past one boss or reading a boss or the mechanics of a certain boss, you just go do something else for like 80 hours, and then you come back.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about the open world then, because that's the next thing on our notes.
Mm-hmm.
So, what did you think of the world as a whole? Like the big.
It's the best open world ever designed.
Wow.
It is. It encourages you to explore. It does not hold your hand. It gently nudges you in the correct direction. It encourages discovery. I never felt that when I went down a path of something, I wasted my time. There's always, some sort of item, something down there, enemy, cool location. The fact that you have freedom on Torrent, the horse, to kind of go wherever. You can platform successfully now compared to other Souls games where it's really abysmal. And the sheer variety and scale, both on the top layer and the bottom layer, is nuts.
Yeah.
It's massive, massive open world, and you'll be in one area at one point, and then you'll get teleported from doing something somewhere else, and it's like, how did I get here? And one of the coolest moments I remember, of which there's a lot in this game, very beginning, I'm out in this field exploring, come across this tower. I'm like, what is this? Oh, there's spellcasters here. Let me eliminate them. Let me crawl to the top of this tower. Oh, there's a chest. Let me open it. I got teleported. I thought my map was already big. And then I opened up my map. I'm like, where the fuck am I? Right? This is where I was before. Open up my map, and I'm all the way freaking... I was like, I cannot believe the sheer scope and scale of it. And there are so many moments in that where it's like, where am I? And then I was like, oh, now you're under the map. And guess what? There's an entire duplication of the world above that's so big down here, too, with completely different shit.
Yeah.
It's crazy, man.
Yeah, I really like the open world in this game. I really liked the differences between certain areas. So Caelid, very obvious you're in Caelid when you're in Caelid because everything is red and bad. Right?
Yeah. Lake of Rot.
The names, some of the other areas, though, not as memorable. And names of certain things, like you would be like, hey, I'm at this bonfire or this grace, in the north area up at like Liurnia or whatever. And I'm like, brother, I don't know where that is. Right. So I think they could have done a little bit of a better job making the areas different. Like Caelid was different, but I still love every area in this game. Like there's so many different things that you can go and stumble across. Like even the other day I was playing and I was just going and getting graces that I missed. And I found in the woods these things you can interact with. And like there was a bunch of them that you had to interact in order for like a door to open somewhere else. And for a second, I was sidetracked and I was like, you know what? I'm not going to do this now. But there's just stuff like that throughout the whole world where there's little things that you could do, little puzzles. Dude, there was a puzzle where you had to find giant floating turtles, dude.
Yeah. You needed that from one of the spells.
Yeah. What the hell? Like, listen, I don't know who came up with some of the stuff in the game, but they're smart.
Yeah. It is piece of candy, the game.
Yeah. You get distracted by something you find, you go on and you go and do that for an hour.
And I found myself totally lost at some points, and I don't mean like lost like I don't know where I'm going. I mean lost as in fully immersed. Like where your blink and 10 hours of your day is gone. You're like, what the fuck is going on? I don't know what the main thing is. I forget what I was doing. But you go down these rabbit holes and, whatever. Brian says he wishes he crafted more. Yeah, I didn't really use crafting at all.
Yeah, I think they could have implemented that a little. They could have done a better job with the crafting.
Yeah, I collected all the books, but I didn't really use any of them recipes. All right, let's compare it quickly. Actually, maybe we'll come back to this one at the end. Let's talk about co-op and PvP.
It works better than any other Souls game.
It's true. Least cumbersome of any other Souls game too.
Yeah.
And quite frankly, says, and then a giant fucking dragon appears. Yeah, there's a couple of those in the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is cool. Which is, I guess, part of the open world stuff too. Like you'd be running on torrent, right? And when you're out of combat, you don't use stamina and stuff, which is nice compared to other Souls games. But then you'll be running on torrent and you're like, why am I starting to use stamina? And then you turn around, just a huge fucking dragon's coming and you're like, shit. Anyway,
yeah, dude.
Co-op.
So co-op just works.
Yeah, it just
works well. PvP, I'm not a PvP guy. It works as well.
Yeah, there's some bugginess with it right now, though.
There is some bugginess with it, and I know a lot of people are upset because they wanted to do like fight clubs, like Dark Souls had, and like it's impossible to do that right now or something. So, I can't speak to that.
Yeah, I don't do PvP that much. I still don't like the fact that you can get invaded if you're just co-oping with your friends. Like, I understand it's like kind of like a balance thing almost, but I don't want to fight other players when I'm just trying to do PvE stuff with my friends. And I don't know why I'm hindered from that.
It definitely adds something to the experience, and I get excited when that happens, but it's definitely really a big bummer when you're like almost at your destination and you get killed and you have to like go all the way back with your friends, summon them again. I can understand why it's, annoying, but I think it adds to the experience a little bit.
Yeah. Brian says he wonders if they did it because the Mog quest line. Yeah, so I don't know if anybody figured that out yet, but there's a few quest lines in the game that I don't think people know the endings to, or they think they're at the end, but there's really like a million other parts of it. But yeah, you're right. That is the one that requires you to invade at least once, I think, to do it. Or no, 4 times. Okay. We talked a little bit about the new elements. Let's talk about music and the bosses. How about that?
Yeah.
Music slaps.
That sounds good. Yeah, music is awesome in this game, man. They always have really good music in these games.
Yeah. In particularly, one of my favorite pieces is the title music. Because much like a good anime, right? It comes back in at just the perfect moment. And when you go into that final boss arena, the first stage, the menu music fucking slaps right in there. And that's a really cool moment.
Yeah, I agree. The music's awesome. I'm not like a big music guy, but or score guy, but like this game definitely has it. And they even like do certain little touches, like when you get invaded and you start fighting an invader, like music will cue in and it makes it so much more intense. Whereas in like Dark Souls, like so you'll get invaded and it'll just be like quiet. The guy's like hitting you and killing you.
Yeah.
So they add like that,
No, you're right. The accent parts of it. But my favorite piece in the game is the Godskin duo. Because if you remember, you fight each of those individually in other places, right? In the game. Those 2 pieces of music, right? The large one and the skinnier one. They play almost in concert with each other separately. When you do the Godskin duo fight, they add them together and intertwine the music.
That's cool.
And where they were clashing before, they're now in harmony. And I noticed that when I walked into the Godskin duo fight, and I immediately after losing the first time, went and listened to all the tracks individually. Somebody, whoever the composer was, knew exactly what they were doing. And something like that, which nobody really is going to pick up on that, but as somebody familiar with music, I really appreciated. Because I was like, there's a lot of thought put into that. And I actually really just like the Godskin fight music in general, and that fight is one of the hardest in the game for some people, but I thought that's a really great piece of music. So
yeah,
boss fights. What's favorite, least favorite?
Dude, I don't want to spoil anything, but there's literally a fight with like King Ghidorah, and that's my favorite boss fight in the whole game.
Yeah, I think that's the slickest boss fight in the whole game. I think that's also my favorite boss fight in the whole game.
Radahn had a cool boss fight.
Yeah.
That was like a different type of boss fight. I don't know. So I have a problem with this game in terms of the bosses, and it's that
all the names are the same.
Well, that, but also like not that they weren't memorable, because there were a lot of memorable bosses. But I'm not a fan of like, and I know that they do this because there's so many boss fights, but I don't like the recycling of bosses.
Yeah, I don't really feel like there was too much of that though in this game. outside of the dungeons.
Maybe, yeah. I just don't like when they're like, all right, remember this boss? Now there's two. And like there's no difference. The Godskin duo is different because, like you said, you fight one, then you fight the other, and then you fight both at the same time. Whatever. Um, and I think that the bosses in this game were way too goddamn hard towards the end.
Yeah.
The final like 5 bosses are just what were they even thinking with that?
Yeah. So Brian brings up a good something that I say, like Radon, we did too. Really cool fight. Especially what happens to the world after that fight. So that he didn't like the final boss, really annoying fight as a melee build. So I will say this.
Yeah.
What's his name before Radon? Or before the... Are we doing spoilers?
I don't think we should.
Before the second phase, the final boss, the first phase,
Yes.
he is fucking abysmal.
Yes.
He's abysmal.
He's cheap, dude.
Because now apparently this is silently patched, post-patch, 1.03 patch. The iframes did not register pre-patch. Now you can roll iframes between those attacks, which always caught me. There was like a bug where you did not get iframes when you should have, and now you do. So he's easier post-patch.
Well, I'll tell you right now, and you know this, but I'll admit it right now. I beat that boss because they glitched out.
Yeah.
I think both stages, they literally just stood there, and we just beat the shit out of both stages and won.
Yeah.
So that was after, like, what, 50 attempts?
Yes, yeah. Helping you, for some reason, we really struggled with it. But particularly the second phase of that, towards the very end, it's annoying because there's certain attacks that you cannot dodge that just track you. There's some abysmal AoE stuff, but I actually think it's really cool, the final boss. I don't think it's particularly too challenging, but I actually think in the context of the story and the world, I think the final boss is actually really, really, really slick.
I agree. It's just cheap. Very cheap.
True. Okay, quickly, comparison to other Souls games. If you had to rank it or anything in general, I already touched on it a little bit.
I'm not ready to rank it with the other Souls games, but
it's my favorite one.
It's definitely like towards the top. Yeah. I like all of them for different reasons.
True. And then the last thing I have on the list here is Platinum Trophy experience. What did you think about the actual experience of getting the Platinum?
I almost did it just by playing the game. Just by beating the game. And then all I had to do was get all the spells, all the weapons, and like you can even have like your friend drop the weapons that you don't have or stuff you missed. There's some that you can't drop, but so we just kind of helped each other out and dropped stuff for each other. And yeah, it was not hard at all, I don't think.
Yeah.
The hardest part is going to be the endings, but if you save scum, which is like you save the game, you upload it to the cloud, and then
we also helped ourselves because there's quite a few bosses in that trophy list that are optional in really abysmal areas that we just did because we explored.
We just wanted to explore.
We explored really thoroughly.
Yeah.
So it's not impossible if you explore. Some of the bosses are definitely challenging. But I think the ending part, I'm actually really happy I played the game again on New Game Plus, regardless of getting the different endings, but it made me appreciate actually just how, not that this is a slight, but how short the actual main path is. And how challenging that could be if you don't actually equip yourself with everything that the game offers you.
Yeah. Right,
which goes back into that. It encourages exploration. But so yeah, I mean, we both got the platinum. Some people say that cheese is cheese, but I really like that you can do weapon drops with friends. Yeah, I mean, especially if you're not going to use this stuff. I mean, you can say whatever you want. I put 120 hours in the game. I don't really care that Dave, our friend, dropped a couple of talismans for me. Sorry.
Yeah.
Don't be an elitist.
Yeah, I don't care either.
Don't be an elitist. And don't judge the way people play the game, you know?
Yeah.
Or co-op. Right. Or use the mimic summons, which we didn't even talk about, by the way. The actual spirit summons. Mainly because we did co-op, but...
Yeah. I barely use them. So. All right, so yeah, overall, guys, Elden Ring slaps. And if you're on the fence, I would say it's a good way to start getting into the Souls franchise, but just know it is hard. Don't fall for people that say it's easy. It's still hard. And
it is. I think it's the most accessible From game, which I've mentioned before.
Yes.
Just in the sense that you can go... I mean, there's a lot of build options, but you just go do whatever you want and come back, like just grind. But anyway.
Yeah.
Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe to Haptic Intel. Did you do it? Subscribe right now.